Hi everybody and welcome to the video. I'll be showing you how to make a game ready asset in Blender and Marmoset Toolbag 4. Okay, let's move on to the handle. And I've just realized I've missed one of the half sharp edges just there. So I'll switch to that edge mode, right click and do mark sharp, like so. Great, right, let's get on with this. So let's just put our 3D cursor around here. Right, let's add a cylinder like so. And I'm going to rotate it around the y-axis by 90 degrees. Let's turn X-ray on. And I think that's approximately the size that we need, give or take. Size on the vertices, on the sides I should say, vertex count, I'm going to use 24. Seems like a sensible number. Let's try that. And with that done, I'm going to move that over just a touch, like so. Now we've got a bit of work to do here, because clearly we need to add a lot more subdivisions to this, edge loops, and also bend it in that fashion just there. So before we start adding edge loops, let's go into edit mode, select faces and select these two on the end and just delete those. Let's turn X-ray off now. And actually no, let's leave it on. Back to front view. Let's do Control R in edge loop mode, loop cut mode I should say. Let's go with 3. So with that done, left click and then right click to leave them nicely spaced out. So with that done, I'm going to do Control B. That will bevel those edge loops we just added. So these effectively are going to be those peak ones you see at the bottom there, the bumpy bits. Okay. And secondly, we're going to select all of these loop cuts again one more time, and do. In fact, no, we can just do Control R here in the middle of those two there. So put 2 cuts there, right click, and then once we've done that, SX, scale it in the X, and bring that out to something like that. Let's make a note of that. Let's put 2 there. I'm going to copy that. And we're going to do the same thing here, and let's do that there as well. So Control R, scroll your mouse wheel to get 2 cuts, SX and 2. Control R, scroll your wheel, right click, SX. And I'll just paste that like so. We may not need this one here, but that's fine. We do need one over here as well though. Let's add one for now. So SX and paste the 2. And the reason I've done that is so that I can select these edges here and essentially move them down to create those bump bits there. But we need to do it in a sensible way. We can't just grab those and move them down. So, oops, let's go back to front view. So let's head over to vertex mode. And what I'm going to do is select all of these vertices in the middle, just there. And I'm going to do Shift S. Now this is probably okay because the 3D cursor is already there, but I'm going to do that again, put it right in the middle of all these vertices that I've selected. So with those selected, Shift S and cursor to selected. And you can see that puts it bang in the middle where we want to. So now what I'm going to do is select. So let's select the ones we have inside here, which will be the bumpy bits. Switch back to our scale tool, and then I'm going to hold down Shift and just bring those out. Something like that. I've just realized that gap there is slightly bigger on this end than it is on the inside, but we can fix that quite easily by selecting that and that, SX, and bring that in just a smidge, like so. Let's turn X-ray off, just have a look at our handiwork. That's pretty good. Let's shade smooth as well. Right click, shade smooth. Yep, and that'll do for now, I think. Let's turn X-ray back on now. Tab back into edit mode. So, before we bend this, let's work on this little part you can see there at the end there, and also this part here, which has also got a slight bulge to it, as you can see. If I just hide that, you can see it goes up there. Then this is consistently flat at the top. Cool. Right, so how are we going to do that? Well, we can select all of these, in fact, and just bring that out. I'm going to select that and press GG to slide that along somewhere like that. I don't know, something like that would do. And whilst we're at it, let's slide that over as well. So that creates that part at the end there that we want. Perhaps make it a little bit more chunky. Halfway, something like that. Cool. Let's select all of these. And what I don't want though, I don't want this to be to kind of come out like that. So I'm going to add another loop cut in the middle, just there. And go back to selecting these. And I'm going to do S for scale. But let's just do S for scale. Make that something like that. Back to object mode. Let's turn wireframe on. And now we've got this object here. So now we need to bend this in such a way that we get a nice bit of curvature to that. So naturally, you'd want to go over to a modifier and select, this is the old menu, by the way, which is an add-on you can get for free. If you don't have that, go over to that one there, deform. We can add a simple deform modifier. Now we've got some cool stuff going on there. Look at that. But we don't want to twist it, we want to bend it. But of course, as always, it's bending the wrong way. So let's see, there you go. So the one we want is the y-axis. So it kind of bends around here, right, which makes sense. And that works as well because we have this rotated. When we created the cylinder, I rotated it 90 degrees. If that was vertical, obviously it will still look okay, but you need to rotate it 90 degrees to put it back to where you want. Anyway, let's turn X-ray on and let's play around with this value just there. And you could obviously rotate the handle like so. Let's try and position this in such a way. Obviously that angle there is completely off. So perhaps we can take that back a bit. Rotate this like so. And move that somewhere like that. As you can see, it's not slightly, it is slightly off the grid, the sketch, but that's totally fine. No worries there. In fact, that really shouldn't be like smaller at the bottom and thicker at the top, or the depth of it, I should say, should be the same from top to bottom. So we may need to actually delete. Let's go into edit mode. Let's select these faces. I'm going to delete those. Back to object mode. And now we have that. That's fine. So let's go back into edit mode. Select edge mode. And in the modifier, I'm just going to turn on this little button here, this icon, which shows you the modifier in edit mode in effect. So I'm going to alt click. So we have that edge loop there. And in fact, I'm going to press F to fill that, because it'll make the next part easier. So in this instance, I'm actually going to apply that. And perhaps a good idea to duplicate that before we do that. Let's create a backups collection. Like so, and just drag that into there and turn it off. So if we mess this up, we can go back. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to apply the modifier. Let's go back and select that face there. Front view, press E to extrude, and now we have a perfectly equal depth on that part there. So I'm going to rotate that ever so slightly, like so, so it lines up more so with this edge there. Cool, that's looking good. Yep, happy with that. So we need to do the same at the back here now. Let's turn X-ray back on, because we have this other part, just hide that. We've got this one section there, and then we've got this inner piece just there. So let's do that as well. That's very easy to do. So I'm going to turn X-ray off, tab into edit mode, Alt click this edge loop, press F to fill, switch to face mode, press I to inset, like so. Let's go around there. Yeah, something like that. And then press E to extrude and bring that out like that. And with that selected, I'm going to delete that face. And now we're going to switch back to edge mode, Alt click this edge loop just there. And now we're going to head over to the face menu at the top there and select grid fill. And that will put a nice grid in that area. And I'm not going to leave it like that because we can get this to be a nicer grid. So down here in the bottom left, you've got the options for that. So, but what I am going to click is offset. Now, I want the edges to flow this way, so vertically and horizontally, which I can try and do by hitting that. So that's not quite there yet. Let's keep going until we get that. So if I turn off the sketch, you can kind of see what I'm getting at there. So that creates a nice seam right down the middle. So in fact, we could use a mirror modifier. Let's do the same for this front piece here. So I'm going to switch over to 3 on the keyboard in face mode, and with that one selected, what I'm going to do instead is select this edge loop, and I'm going to press Ctrl B. I'm going to give that a slight chamfer, like that, and that's 7333. Let's do 725. And we'll copy that in case we need it in a second. So we've got a nice chamfer just there. And I should have done that on this side as well, actually. Let's try and do that by selecting these edges here. This may not work because we have a lot more topology to think about now. Let's do Ctrl B. Yeah, you can see it's kind of going a little bit weird there. So I'm going to backtrack here. Select these 4 in the center, hold down Control, press plus on the numpad, and grow that selection. And with that done, just delete the faces. And back to this again, press F, and then holding down Alt, select the edge loop, Control B, and give that a slight bevel. I'm just going to paste that value just there. Now we have the same small chamfer at the back there as we do on that side there. So a bit of consistency. Let's take that face now and delete it. And edge mode, Alt click, face, grid fill. And once again, I'm going to offset that twice, or 3 times actually. There you go. Let's do the same for this part here. So delete that face. Switch to edge mode, Alt click, face, grid fill, offset 3. Not 3. 4. Okay, my bad. Maybe it was 4 there, I just didn't realise. So yeah, there we go. Got a nice grid fill there. Doesn't have to be a grid, by the way. You could just poke that face and end up with triangles going to the center. You could do that. But I'll just go with the grid for now. But if you want to optimize it, just feel free to put triangles in there, which is absolutely fine. Let's turn off the wireframe. Let's have a look at our work, our handiwork. That's looking pretty good. Nice chunky handle there. Now, the handle's all well and good, but I don't want it to be a perfect circle either. And I'm also going to apply the rotation because we have a rotation there. I don't know why Blender does that. It's got these like 0.00001s everywhere. Not nice. So I want to put these back to 0 just before I apply the rotation. Make sure that it's all nicely, obviously not this one. So I'm going to go back to here and click Apply Rotation. And that will reset these values there. Again, if you don't have the add-on, Control A, Apply Rotation. Lovely. Let's turn the wireframe on. Let's save that. Now, I was going to say, the handle's all well and nice being a bit chunky like that, but it doesn't make for a very good handle. So let's make it a little bit more organic. Not organic, what's the word? Ergonomic. That's the one, something like that. And we're going to tap into, tap into edit mode. I'm going to select everything and top view, 7 on the numpad. I'm going to scale this along the y-axis. Now you can make sure you do this in edit mode, otherwise you're going to have to apply the scale afterwards. So I'm going to turn X-ray on. So I'm going to press S, Y, and bring that in like so. So now we have more of an egg shape to the handle, which is quite nice. Makes it easier to grip, essentially. Now if you wanted to, you could actually add another loop cut in this area here, like that, and bring that down a little bit, just to make that a little bit more rounded there. We could do that, but I don't think I'll do that in this video. Now that's great, but what I don't like about this, and I'll come to this in a moment actually, is we have all these lovely faces, but they're not distributed evenly, which is a waste really. So we end up, even though we've got quite a few cuts along here, along the length of the handle, we still get large flat areas, a small flat area, and then repeat, right? So that doesn't look great. Oops, let's go back to solid mode. Oops, object mode. Yeah, as you can see, it kind of goes a bit flat in places like that. So we're going to fix that. We're going to tab into edit mode, and we're going to use the magic of loop tools again to space these out nice and even. And in fact, to help us save a bit more time, I want to delete half of this. So I'm going to select the back half just there, all those vertices, press delete, vertices. And now we've got the half. So I'm going to add a mirror modifier along the y-axis. That's great. So what we're going to do is tab into edit mode, switch to edge select. So we just need to focus on this part here, not that part there. So my bad. Let's select that one again. Let's turn off the mirror modifier so we can actually see what we're doing. Let's select that one there and up to that point there, not that one there. Sorry about that. Space. Let's do these as well. I'll quickly go through this. Like so, and right click, space. That's a little bit funky there. Oh, I've done it again, haven't I? I've selected these. Oh my gosh. Don't do what I do, guys. Oh, I should do that. There we go. Right, after that complete disaster, let's go into edit mode again. Let's make sure we save, and I'm going to select this edge loop there, and I'm going to do a Control B to bevel it, and scroll my mouse wheel to give it one cut. So I'll make that something like that is good, I think. That looks pretty good. And what I'm going to do is select that edge loop in the middle. Before I do that, in fact, I'm going to apply the mirror modifier. So we have our handle complete again. Tab into edit mode. Select that edge loop there. Make sure that's set to medium point. And press S for scale. And bring that in a smidge like that. Perhaps a bit more. Yeah, and that's pretty good. In fact, I could close that up a little bit, but nah, let's just do that. Let's go with that. It's not a big deal. That's fine. Now we've got a bit of a nice catch light going on there. And in fact, we did the sharp edges on this one, so we're also going to do the same for now anyway. Let's just see how this goes. Let's add sharp edges to all of these as well. Just select all of these leading edges. Let's go over here and select these as well. Like that. And then right click, mark sharp. Lovely. Cool. What I don't like though is this part here, which is very, very flat. Let's turn wireframe on. Yeah, this is really flat there. So let's make that a little bit more rounded. So side view, or front view I should say. Let's select that edge loop there. So press G twice, slide that along, so it's roughly in the middle. I'm actually going to scale that up a touch, and then do a Control B. This is wider at the top than it is at the bottom, so this default setting of offset is not going to work as a width type. And previously I used percent, so that's what I'm going to do now. So change it to percent, and then we'll click and drag that out. And now you can see that's actually working really well. I guess that's got to be 50%, right? It seems to be going that way. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, and finally, let's go for this one as well. I'm also going to leave that at the default bevel options as well, not the default, the ones we just used. So I'm going to do Control B and just give it one more segment like that. And that's 41 something. Let's just have a quick look around. Perhaps that needs to be a little bit bigger or smaller. Yeah, I don't know. Seems like that's a bit longer than over here. Okay, so with that done, what happens if I press GG? We can actually slide those inwards, like so. Just a touch. But that's going a bit weird, so I'm going to select that one first. And press GG, and just bring that in. Like that. And the same for this one. GG, slide that in. Okay. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. So this part here also needs to be, well, it needs to have a sharp edge, so we can do that there. Sharp edge. Mark sharp, I should say. And there you go. So if we wanted to make this a bit more interesting, how would we go about doing that? So what we could do is add like some sort of like element like this. So maybe this can then be attached to something else, or you could have something hanging off it. I don't know. Possibilities are a lot. There's a lot of possibilities there. Let's delete that. But I quite like the idea of these little details. So what I may do is select these 4 faces there, and we're going to create an inset like so. And we need this to be the same on both ends, right? So I'm just going to copy this value here, 0.327. So I'll copy that and go back to these faces, press I to insert, and then paste. So now we have the same size there. Now select those faces again, and I'm actually going to delete those. So now we have a hole there, which is fine. In fact, that could be quite nice to keep it squared off like that, actually. I was intended to make it round, but I feel like the square rectangle shape would be quite nice. Should we try that? Why not? But what I will do is actually, I quite like this little tapered effect just there, like this. So I'm going to select these 2 vertices there and press GG to slide those down a touch, like that. Do the same for these ones, but obviously upwards, GG. I'm just going to eyeball this, something like that. And GG again, slide them up. Let's just go with that, that's fine. Let's save that. And now what we're going to do is select, I'm switching to edge mode, and I'm going to alt click that one and press F to fill. So alt click this one, F to fill. The reason I'm doing that is as a stepping stone. Select these 2 faces and press E to extrude. Give that something like this. In fact, you could actually keep doing that and then make these smaller as you go out. There could be some kind of prongs, which would be quite nice as well. Do not undo that. Let's do that. In fact, let's do that one more time. E to extrude. And the idea is now is to bridge these two together. So let's select these two faces and delete them. Switch to edge mode, alt click, shift alt click, and let's do bridge edge loops. This may not actually work, but let's give it a go. You can see it's going a little bit crazy there. Open loop is fine. Blend surface. Okay, whoa. That doesn't seem to do anything. Let's put it back to 0.5. Okay, that's looking a little bit weird there. Let's add some more cuts. Oh, no. That's not good. We certainly don't want to twist to that either. Obviously. Let's see what happens if we play with this. Not a lot. Maybe change this to smooth. Oh wow. Okay, it's not quite what I had in mind. But if you like that, by all means, leave it like that. Ah, there we go. Okay, my bad. Let's just go to front view and make this a little bit smaller. Don't mind that, to be honest. Which one did we change? This one? Yeah. Let's make that something like that. Yeah, it's not bad. I quite like that. Yeah, the gap there could be slightly bigger, but I think that's cool. It looks a bit bad there because we've got smooth shading on. So we could, if we wanted to, select these edge loops and bevel them like this. Give that a little bit of a transition if you want to. I'm going to undo that simply because I think I'm just going to mark these as sharp, and that will obviously make that look like that, right? So I think it's fine. Obviously we've got some optimization we can do there, so might as well do that. Let's select these two and Control Delete to dissolve those edges just there. What I'm not really liking is these here. If I select all of those, being quite so, jagged effectively. So I'll tell you what, let's do Control B and just smooth these out. Percent is where we need to be, and let's go something like that. Before I let you go, my bad, I forgot to add sharp edges to this as well. So it looks a little bit weird. And because we have this sharp corner there, I'm going to select, if I alt click that, I'm going to select that as well. So I'm going to hold down shift and deselect that. Let's shift alt that and shift deselect these two. Shift alt deselect these two. So now you just have these like so, the yellow ones there. With those selected, right click and do mark sharp. Ta-da! Not too shabby. I'm so tempted to bevel them as well. Shall we? Yes, let's do that. Let's just select these quickly again. I think we can do this. Come on, why not? Why not? Let's have some fun with this. Right. With those selected again, let's do Control B and give that a slight chamfer, like that. Should we do 3? Oh, that's so naughty, isn't it? Heck, let's do 3. I'm indulging myself here. And of course we've got this messy parts to figure out and clean up, so I'm just going to merge these like so. So 1, 2, merge at last. There we go. That's much nicer. Okay, it's me again, and I'm gonna revisit the handle for a second because this kind of bugged me a little bit, having these very flat sections just there. So I figured I would go in and edit this a little bit, make this a little bit more rounded. And I think rather than trying to figure out or make this as complicated, what I'm going to do is go to the front view, turn on X-ray. I'm going to Alt click and select these edge loops there. Then press the C key to get the selection circle, and middle mouse button click and deselect these ones there. So now we just have these edges like that. Cool. Right, so now I'm going to scale them so they're a bit closer to each other. So I'm going to switch this to normal and select the scale tool. Click on the little marker there. Just bring them in something like that. Let's go back to that, and still selected. I want to press Ctrl B and bring them out like so. Now let's try switching this to %. It's not too bad. Let's just try a few other options like width. Nope, that's not quite what I wanted. Let's try absolute. That might be better. Not too sure. Let's go with that. So, what does that look like as 0.2? 0.02? No, a little bit bigger. I'm going to copy that. So, Control C to copy that value. Let's do the same for these edge loops here. Yeah, that's much nicer. I think you'll agree. That's a much better result now. Cool, let's leave it there. Catch you in the next one. Bye.